Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Delta Green role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is a victim of the art. It was written by Dennis Detwiller, and it's part of a collection entitled Delta Green Countdown. It's available from Drive-Thru RPG. Our game master is Nathan Decker, and this is episode 2. Our recap will be given by James Walker as his character, Agent Indemnity. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. James?
This is the first time I've written in this diary, with the fear that someone might read it sooner rather than later. Like each other opera I've attended, I have been assigned the paradoxical task of both uncovering and suppressing the truth, to identify the true nature of what the public knows as the Glenridge chiropractor, while at that same time making sure this truth never leaves Long Island. If you can believe it, our mission has somehow become even more complicated before we even got to Glenridge proper. Passing by an electrical tower on the highway, we all but drove directly under the mangled corpse of the entity's third victim, Lauren Harrogate, while pieces of blood and flesh dripped more or less directly onto the camera lens of a pair of live streaming journalists. I don't trust anything about this coincidence, but at least my new team has managed to muster something resembling a plan. Agent Crosstalk has gone entirely off the grid to wage some kind of sabotage campaign against the Phenomenex live streamers in particular, and the news media feeding frenzy in general. I like the guy, but I am happy he's dealing with the cover-up instead of me. I'm paired up with Agent Equus, taking on the name Jack Darwin to work with local law enforcement and gain access to the crime scenes, particularly the site of the third victim's recent abduction, an incident which left her mother in a coma. We found evidence strongly suggesting that we are, in fact, dealing with a hypergeometric entity. Something of enormous strength appears to have physically ripped Lauren from her bedroom, apparently entering directly onto the second floor before presumably removing her head and depositing her mutilated body on top of the high-voltage wires outside of town. Not exactly typical chiropractor misbehavior, which is generally limited to overbilling insurance companies in my experience. But on the other hand, I wouldn't necessarily put it past them. Ha. The apparent supernatural strength of our quarry was confirmed by our visit to the morgue, where the extreme disfigurement of the first victim apparently deeply affected our team's physician, Agent Mary, so much so that I now fear for his stability. Even more concerning is Agent Kobe's experience at the hotel, about which I will suffice to say that I'm beginning to doubt that quarry is even a good way to describe the chiropractor at all. I feel powerless in a way that only Delta Green can make me feel. Shit. If you find this or any other previous entry morbid, strange, or embarrassing, I ask for your understanding, not your forgiveness. This has been my only form of prayer after God stopped listening. Burn this book. Agent Indemnity.
Excellent.
Yes, very nice. Well, let's keep going then. We are back outside the medical examiner's office, in which you found these horribly mutilated bodies, and you walked out to the parking lot to find that all of the lights are out, and when you hit the button to unlock your car, you heard a of kind of a dying battery sound, not where you left the car. The rain is coming down in waves, and it is late night at this point. I believe we said about 10, 11.
I think it was 11 or something.
Yeah. I've certainly got my weapon ready.
I got out a flashlight.
Hell happened to the car?
Follow the sound.
Yeah, so I'm keeping my eyes upward.
I'm keeping my eyes forward.
All right, go ahead and make a search or alertness roll, whichever one is stronger for you as you're searching the skies.
We can't spend luck in this.
That is correct.
Yeah, I failed in both cases.
Okay,
I just barely failed on alertness.
Yeah, and as you're looking into the sky, the rain's just kind of pattering down around you. You can't see anything, but the storm is enough that you don't have perfect vision.
I think we should try to get back inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or at least under some cover.
All right, so I'm gonna start walking backwards towards the entrance to the hospital, I guess.
Does it have like an awning or something out front that we can kind of like shuffle under?
Let's get under the awning.
Yeah, a little kind of out awning, and then a small kind of mud room area once you get in there. Little place to, wipe your feet off. But yeah, as you back up, it's quiet outside. You just hear the rain falling. Go ahead and everyone just do a quick helplessness check. Roll for sanity.
I passed this roll.
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. Just take one from this. Is yes, you realize you cannot see well, but you've expressed your concerns about what you're seeing, and as you're backing up into this area, standing there with your guns drawn, Agent Indemnity, from your pocket, you start hearing, "I kissed a girl and I liked it," and that's all. That's all we'll go for here. As you kind of have a jump as the phone in your pocket starts to buzz.
I've got to check it immediately.
And you open it, and you see there is a call on it. And this is Lauren's phone. It's got a small crack in the corner that spiders out and a pink background. And you can see that Phoebe Collins is calling.
I answer the phone and I say, "Hello, this is Agent Jack Darwin."
And you hear a young girl's voice. What? I'm trying to get a hold of Lauren.
Why?
I haven't seen her in a day. She didn't show up to school today.
I put my hand over the speaker and say, Lauren's friend is calling her phone. What should we say?
Tell her to watch the news.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should be nice to this girl. I mean, if she doesn't know she's lost her friend yet.
Passion is
maybe,
part of our
maybe she knows
art.
some information.
Even ours. Listen, if she's got information, let's at least wait till the press conference officially announces this. Because if we talk to her tonight, then rumors are going to spread. Let's just minimize our information contact.
I'm sorry,
Just
Phoebe.
pretend you were joking about who you were.
Keep an eye on the news. Click.
Okay.
Hey, can I take a look at that phone? I just want to see,
sure.
Whether she gets regular calls from Phoebe or anybody else.
Okay. I'll hand it over.
Yeah. Yep. Agent Kobe, as you pick up the phone, you're able to open it. There's no lock screen or anything on it. And pretty much immediately, you do see there's a group text that Lauren was part of, looks like with a number of her friends. And you immediately see a note pop up that's like, "I just talked to a guy that sounded like a detective," and tons of question marks and that sort of thing. Looking at her call history, you see she does have a number of calls that she has made or taken. You see there is a Phoebe Collins, a Troy Woods, and a Thomas Dangler, all called her the previous day.
Been any calls or texts from numbers that aren't in her contacts?
No, there's none of that. And that's just the last day. As you go back, you see she was pretty social. You see a number of people that, girls' names that you think, oh, maybe her cheerleading team, because the contact pictures kind of look like that. And she's had multiple text conversations going over this time.
What's her last name?
Her last name is Harrogate.
And what was the name of the third person? I got Troy
Thomas
Woods.
Thomas Dangle.
Thomas Dangle.
Dangler.
Dangler.
Now, this may be something of a grim suggestion, but if I remember correctly, Miss Harrogate's body was more or less directly dangling from an electrical wire.
Yep.
Is a dangler with an E, not with an A.
Wait.
Okay.
Correct.
Is Phoebe her sister?
Well, Phoebe's last name is Collins, right?
Oh, why did I write down Harrogate?
That's Lauren's
Right.
last name. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Lauren Harrogate is the one that
That's who.
you found.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, you found on the electrical wire.
Sorry.
Hmm.
I know it's bizarre. It's bizarre to ask. We don't know what's going on here. I wonder if we have a way to run those last names, Collins Woods and Dangler, through our system to see if Delta Green has any ticks on those last names. Or for all we know, her father could be a CIA or.
Yeah, I think you'd be able to contact your handler with those, kind of get a background check. If you want to do a bureaucracy roll, whoever's best at that.
Whoever, yeah, I've only got a 30.
My bureaucracy is 40.
I have
Probably you
a
can
50.
just text those names to Delta Green.
Yeah, I've got a bureaucracy of 42, so.
So
But
it sounds
go
like
ahead.
Jack.
Mary is
Mary.
50.
Yeah, go for it, Jack.
Shouldn't have trusted me with it. I got a 78.
Oof.
Okay. You do get a note back that says, yes, we'll look into it, but it may take a day or two.
I pull my phone out of my pocket and look at Long Island's Power Authority's site for outages. See if any have been reported.
Yes, there is an outage on the electrical area serviced by the grid where you found the body. It looked like they did manage to take out the power.
Handler, I'd like to just check social media and see if I can find profiles on either Instagram or Facebook corresponding to these names that appear to belong to children, at least, instead of like adults, and rule out the possibility these are, weirdos.
Yes, a good call. That is pretty easy to do, especially with her phone. These are all children in her at her school at Glen Ridge High School.
Okay.
So
And you would find like her mom's contact as well, but obviously stuff like that.
So far, we've made no actual contacts other than, this still could be totally random. Agree?
Are they assuming
We'll
the
find
power
out
outage?
tomorrow morning.
Or
Well, I mean that if there is a hyperdimensional entity and it's killed some people, it could just be people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time, as opposed to somebody actually seeking revenge.
that's a good point. So the Long Island Power Authority is saying that there's an outage here, I'm guessing it's probably due to them shutting off the power to get her off the wires. But that doesn't explain the response from the car.
Is there a body of water like within like eyesight of where because I know that the Harrogate house was like on the coast.
I don't believe so. I don't think this particular center is near the water.
Okay.
Part of what I was getting at, though, just a moment ago, is if this is random, if it's an entity attacking random people, then this becomes a hunt. We need to hunt and exterminate whatever it is that's doing this, and all of the people involved are kind of like unimportant, unless we can find some weird connection. That somebody's Hyperborean wizard.
We
I
definitely
do. Go ahead.
we definitely need to see what the other bodies were. Get a proper examination of the next two bodies tomorrow, and I want to look more into Dr. Santorini's theories he was outlining in his notes. I want to see if there's a possibility that maybe he's onto too much, or if it could be pertinent to our, let's see.
Yeah, and I'd like to do some research on this chemical to see if anything like this is in the in any of the journals or any other published materials. But I'm kind of worried about right now. Here we are in the middle of a rainstorm. Sounds like our car battery is dead, and we don't know why.
It seems like almost like kind of like an EMP. Almost, maybe.
And I just want to make a note and a reminder. The car is not where you left it.
It's in a ditch, right?
It got pushed
Yes, it's
off.
over in the ditch.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. It got shoved.
Why don't we call for a taxi?
Taxi or crosstalk. Crosstalk rented several cars, I believe.
Yeah, but how do we get a hold of crosstalk?
Can we text him?
Crosstalk. He steps out of the shadow.
I would assume that you would have burner phones among the group to contact each other, unless you specifically wanted to.
I mean, we were live streaming before, so
contact in this situation.
I was thinking, Agent Equus, you were talking about we have to hunt the thing. I'm concerned maybe we're the prey right now. That this is actually a really dangerous situation. The car doesn't just push itself into the ditch.
Yeah. Frankly, I prefer to be inside the building if at all possible rather than out here.
Agreed, but we need to get to someplace. Is there anything in the van that we shouldn't leave there? Otherwise, we could just leave it there.
I have nothing I've got my medical bag.
All right, so it's a rental in a ditch and it can't be traced back to us physically. So
how did I know it was ours?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's already clearly proven to be, implied to be intelligent if it was swinging a forehead down to
freak us out. It definitely
feels like it's playing with its food.
And with us.
We're the food. That's what I meant.
Well, why don't we cut as you make that observation? Let's cut over to Agent Crosstalk. What have you been up to tonight? It's hitting about 11.
I've been cleaning up a little. I took the tracker off the Phenomenex van.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna be driving around.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a luck roll.
That's a 22. A lucky 20.
What incredible luck that you've got there. You happen, as you're going to go by the site of Lauren's body, just as they're starting to clean up. You see that it looks like they are closing the ambulance doors, getting ready to head that off to the medical center, you would assume. You can see Detective Gregson is kind of scratching her head and getting into her squad car. It looks like they are wrapping up there.
Are there any news crews there, Phenomenex people? Or has this been...
Well, yeah, your luck kind of holds, because you maybe take a moment or two, and you see they're starting to pull out, and you see down the road a couple lights go, and then you see a local news vehicle kind of pulling into town.
Okay. So I am going to don a disguise for my kit.
Okay.
and I'm going to pretend I'm a journalist to see what's on the scene.
Your disguise is very high, am I correct?
Yes, it is 70.
Okay. We'll let that go as you look like a journalist. Unless somebody had a reason to not believe you, then we might.
And I'll wait for the other news crew so I can blend in as they come in.
You get the impression it's not necessarily going to be a steady stream yet. They have not had the press conference or anything. You think maybe this one's just here for a power outage.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily that they found this, or maybe that Phenomen X video went further than you knew.
Right. All right, so I'm going to get out of the car and just look around just to see if there's anything interesting that we haven't found in the first place earlier today.
Yeah, and you're walking around this base of this electrical tower. It's muddy. It's raining all around you, and you're not really seeing anything that strikes you as odd or new.
Okay. Then in that case, if I'm not spotted by anyone, I'm going to head back into my vehicle and wait for the news crew. Just sit there.
Okay. It looks like they were going into town, especially with the police having vacated the area. It looks like another electrical tower to you at this point.
Okay, so they cleaned up pretty well. There's no evidence left behind.
Right. Nothing that would draw you here just out of the blue.
And I'll turn my vehicle around and head where that news van was heading.
Okay. You see they'll pull into a Denny's and head in. Looks like they're going in for a late night food.
Okay. Be a shame if something happened to one of their tires.
Would you like to roll a criminology and see if something bad happened to their tires?
Of course. Oh yeah, something bad happened to their tires. Okay. 46 out of 60.
Yeah, and it's quick. You do the punch. That they won't be leaving this parking lot for a while.
Might have to sleep in the Denny's.
Yep.
It's open 24 hours.
Yeah. I'll drive off casually. Okay.
Can we text Crosstalk and tell him the situation? We need him to pick us up.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like receive the text. Are you in danger?
Possibly.
All right. From my bag, I am going to get my Mac 11 submachine gun and place it into the glove console. The center console.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Just on the dashboard. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm going to head over to where they are.
Okay. It takes about an hour. Is there anything the four at the medical center want to do in that hour?
What's the name of the first victim again?
Carl Moretti.
Got it.
Carl Moretti?
Carl Moretti. Let me post that.
My thinking is that if there is going to be any thread linking these victims together, it's going to start with the first victim. And that's probably the best place to look. So I'm going to do a quick social search, see if I can find out anything about this guy. Standard Google, Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that.
Not difficult to do, just at a base level. It looks like Carl Moretti was a dentist in the area. And you know from this that he was found on September 15th.
Mm-hmm. I mean, is it now, what, October?
Correct. It's October 22nd, the night of.
Be the 23rd tomorrow.
Yep. And probably about the time that Crosstalk gets there.
Are all of the victims from this area?
Yes.
All right. So it's definitely something local. It's a bird in a tree that's hunting and killing.
When was Vanessa found?
October 7th.
Possible link. If we could check maybe appointment records at this dentist. See, maybe Vanessa and Lauren were patients.
At which
great
spot?
idea.
Yeah.
At the whoever the dentist is his practice still operating, or is there any way we can try to get there?
You have the address for it, but they'd be closed at the moment. And,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But maybe something for tomorrow.
What about
That'd be doable.
Vanessa? What did she do?
Doing a quick search, you see that she was a high school librarian, and she actually her body was found on school grounds.
Same school?
Same school. Yep, Glenridge High School. Looking into it a little further, this is the part that was sensationalized, but you kind of looking through it. Her body was found in a tree.
Oh.
Yeah. Power lines in a tree. What was the date on the first body? I'm sorry. September
15th.
15th.
And what year is this?
21.
2021, yeah.
So this victim was found in a power line. The previous one was in a tree, and the first one was where?
Looks like they just kind of found his body at the edge of a park.
Okay.
One of these things is not like the other.
Interesting.
All right. Anything else, or it sounds like crosstalk might be pulling up soon.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
Okay, yeah. Crosstalk, you pull up with an Uber sign in your window now that you managed to have.
Gentlemen, your Uber is here.
Are you Bob? That's what I've got on my Uber.
Yes. Yeah, that's
hey Bob.
Do you need help with your luggage?
We don't have much luggage. Thank you.
Okay. Where to?
You're hilarious, crosstalk.
Thank you.
Wait. That's crosstalk?
Yeah, and as you look, yeah, it kind of does look like crosstalk.
So as I get in the car, so I've done a quick check. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with the phases of the moon when this is going on. So,
And you relay what you found?
yeah.
Sounds like something dropped them from a large height, especially if this thing can fly, if it's in trees or power lines or just dropped and discarded. And that kind of explains the bludgeoning damage that's been done last from the fall.
Sure. Yeah.
I couldn't believe being dropped, but the cause of death is 100% the
Yeah, probably the head coming off.
throwing garbage in the trash can.
Now, in all three cases, was the head and spine removed?
Yes.
That's interesting because, I mean, I made a joke about the movie, but now it starts to feel like trophy, like somebody or something is taking a specific body part, head and spine. Why would you need the head and spine?
Yeah.
The brain?
And also just playing with it. I mean, just banging the head into the window at the hotel. So, I don't think it's like a food thing. More like but maybe it needs more.
Maybe it's just retrieving something that it was sent out to get for somebody else. Otherwise, I mean, let's say you were trying to create something with heads and spinal cords, wouldn't you be careful with the parts that you're collecting? But if it's just landing on the roof and the thing is banging against the window, it starts to sound like, like when you go falconing, when you send the falcon out to grab something that comes flying back and it's just, it's not careful.
I've got a hypothesis. Now, I'm wondering if it's following us because of something we did. It was with Kobe and I at the hotel, but then Kobe went with you to the morgue. And that's when it tipped over a car. That's not part of the MO. It doesn't just tip over cars. It breaks into places and then carries them off. So I'm under the impression that it's following Kobe around. And has Kobe, what have you done? Can you retrace your steps? Have you picked anything up?
Man.
Or
you're scaring me?
Means that we've got bait.
Yeah,
you were at the hotel too.
Yeah, but wait, I wasn't the one experimenting with that gray stuff.
Maybe it doesn't like hippies.
Maybe it can smell the gray stuff.
Maybe. If I were to guess, I mean, it was Crosstalk and Kobe that first went to the site when it was fresh. Maybe this thing can be like invisible or something, and it was nearby and watching, took an interest, and then maybe that's what tipped it off. Because Kobe hasn't been in an isolated situation.
Yeah,
that I can think of.
Maybe he's got the gray matters scent.
What if? Okay, let's assume there's a hostile person, and that this thing is acting as a retrieval dog or a whatever, like I say, like a falcon. What if that person is marking his victim with the gray stuff so that the thing knows who to attack? I mean, Kobe, you might be in danger, but I think you're in no more danger than any of us are.
Wasn't the gray stuff under their fingernails?
I find it hard to believe that going under the fingernails would be
or they would fighting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what that substance is, right?
We'll see if we can find out.
Polymer chains, right?
Or it might be emitting pheromones.
I need to spend some time and look this up in a proper library.
Do some experiments.
Just be careful.
That's probably not in the library.
Yeah.
I don't think
we don't know. I mean, there's lots of weird things that people have researched and create materials, science. Everybody's looking for the next superglue. So,
yeah, it's certainly something that Agent Kobe has never run into, and he has pretty high chemistry knowledge. Not ringing any bells. But I think you're then all together. You're sitting in an Uber outside this medical facility. You can see the headlights are kind of just going out into this rain. You can hear the patter on the roof. Where are you going?
Yeah, where to, gentlemen?
Go back to where?
Crosstalk, is it safe to stay back at the same hotel where those journalists had suddenly shacked up in as well?
See, I'm not too worried about the journalists. I'm incognito. I'm more worried that this thing's going to knock on my window at night.
Can you roll over to that ditch? Just pull us over to that ditch and put your headlights over on that vehicle in the ditch over there?
I'm going to have to charge you extra, but sure.
I'll tip you.
The headlights pan over the SUV, I believe you had driven here, and you see that the roof has been ripped off like a sardine can and is off to the side. And you're also seeing you've had various bags, just kind of the seat cushions. It looks like everything has been pulled out of the car and scattered around the area.
You leave anything?
Go ahead and roll a sanity upon seeing this, because this is
pretty
horrible.
Well, to be very specific, we wouldn't leave anything that traced back to us.
I failed as well.
I passed.
It's just a 1 from the unnatural as you're kind of looking at this.
All zeros is 100, right?
That is correct, but it is only 1 still.
When I failed the helplessness earlier, do I tick the box?
Yes, tick the box.
Okay. Was that helplessness too?
This one is unnatural because you know there's nothing in the amount of time you had that could have done this.
Yeah, I believe you tick it if you take any sanity damage, not if you take 0.
Correct.
Right.
Take sanity damage and don't go temporarily insane or hit a breaking point.
I would have taken violence for seeing the corpse, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I think we're not safe in this vehicle and we should get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So to the family inn.
Family inn. Why not?
So
Motel 9.
Let's drive on over there and I'll drop my customers off.
Okay. Easily done. And then you head up to the Motel 8 or 9 or whatever number it is. I'm going
to get a different room then.
Okay. It's great. The person is like, man, I'm doing great business between you and these other two. What a great day.
Crosstalk, I think that you should at least stick with one other agent, because if we've seen stuff, if something takes you, we're not going to know about it.
Yeah, I was planning on staying at the hotel with him. I want to talk to the Phenomenix people too.
Yeah, I'll stay with Kobe. Keep an eye on him.
The three of us are going to get our own room at a different hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, great. So those three head off to the nicer hotel. Crosstalk and Kobe, are you talking to them tonight, Kobe, or are you waiting until the following morning?
Oh, tomorrow. Well, I mean, if they're out there going, what happened to our van, then, but yeah, I'll wait until tomorrow morning otherwise. Now that we are back, though, I do want to do like a literature research, see if anything matches up. And then if I have time after that, I want to see if I can hack into the dentist's website to see if they're all three are clients of his.
All right, go ahead and do a computer science, because the chemistry roll, it does not take you terribly long with the searches. You know these things. You're really not finding anybody that has run into these before.
I failed my computer science roll, 71, and I have a 40.
Yeah. Fairly difficult to get into records like these. You think, knowing what you know, if you went on site, they'd probably have hard copies. But yeah, it's difficult to breach, and it does take a few hours. So you're kind of hitting like the 2:00 hour at this point.
Bedtime.
All right. So everybody heads to bed. The next morning, I believe, Agent Equus, you had given Gregson your phone number, correct?
Yes.
Yes. You would then get a call about 8:00 in the morning. Agent Equus, this is Hannah Gregson from the Glen Ridge Police Department. We met last night.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We got the body off the pole, sent it off to Dr. Santorini. He'll be looking at that today. I've scheduled a press conference for noon today to obviously go to the press, but I will warn you, I think whoever was there before doing the streaming, I think they've alerted some news stations. We had one roll into town last night, and I suspect our press conference is going to be very well attended. Would you, I kind of hate it, would you mind being at the conference to kind of show we're taking this seriously?
There have been some developments in the case that we are following up. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. I have a quick question for you. What time did they turn the power off last night?
Oh boy, about 10.
So I want to know the corresponds.
Yeah. It matches with when the outage was and everything.
I forget for a second. Have we made them believe that we're FBI?
Yes, correct. They specifically asked for FBI help.
Right. I can't really go into details, but there is a chance that the person who is doing this has become aware that we are looking for him. We have evidence that they seem to know a little bit too much about us. That's why I say we're kind of stuck right now trying to follow up these leads.
How is that possible?
We don't know. That's extremely disturbing.
Absolutely. Is there anything that we can give for the press conference to calm people down?
I suppose you can just tell them that the FBI are here and we're working on the case. We're doing our best.
Okay, it's
the
right.
Usual stuff. Tell them that we have leads, but we can't discuss right now.
Of course, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I will. Good Lord, wishes rain would let up for this. Fine, whatever. Thanks. Let me know as soon as you get a lead. We're happy to help in any way we can.
I will keep you informed.
She hangs up.
Yeah, he can appear on camera.
Here we just kicked a can down the road with that.
Well, they'll create their own distractions as they go, as long as they don't know there's a monster flying through the skies eating people. We're okay.
I guess it doesn't matter what they believe as long as it's not the truth.
We have pieces of the answer of the puzzle. We probably just don't have enough to fit them all together. We've convinced ourselves that there is something that is either leaping or flying, that it's tearing the heads off of people, that it seems to be tracking us because it has found where we are. It's strong enough to rip the car apart. We can't identify the goo, which to me means that it's got to be extra dimensional, something from another place.
It's unnatural. We know that for sure.
Now the question is, because it's tracking us, it's like you said, it's either got to be something that we have that it can follow, or most likely that somebody has seen us and they are tracking us and sending that thing. And that's really quick because we just got here. It could be somebody in law enforcement.
It could be somebody possibly watching the live stream of the very first people that we saw.
Damn internet. It's just made things far more complicated.
But why is it pursuing us and not Phenomenex, who have made a much more public show?
How do we know that it hasn't pursued Phenomenex?
Well, I assume those idiots would be dead by now if it was.
Then the answer, if that's actually happening, then it's because they're intelligent and they know that we are a threat and that Phenomenex is not a threat.
That I think is disturbing. That it knows about our organization.
That I've considered for a while, and I think we need to accept that this is some kind of intelligent entity for sure. This is not a mindless beast. Not just intelligent, but with intelligence. Like it knows something.
If this thing has some limited form of telepathy, we're fucked. Because it's listening to everything that we're thinking and saying. This is like a vampire. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but
I'd bet dollars to donuts that it could be listening on us right now.
Should we switch to sign language?
I know a little bit of Latin.
I'll just try not to think anything.
The problem is that if you think it, it's going to be translated. If you think and read our minds. I don't know how to proceed. I mean, we can just keep following up on the leads and keep our eyes open and our guns ready for shooting giant flying bat things from the sky.
When the motel incident happened, that was after it was dark, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so at the very least, we have some kind of confidence reason to believe that as long as it's daytime, we might be at some better degree of safety. So for now, yes, we need to just pursue these leads and see what we can. Look at the other bodies, look into this dentist.
I think we need more information and try to catch up with it, I guess.
Well, I know at least for me, I'm going to be wanting to pay a visit to Dr. Santorini sooner rather than later.
If it came from somewhere outside, then most likely it was brought here by somebody on the inside. So, any creepy old houses filled with wizards and witches, or any covens, or
This isn't Maine. It's Long Island.
no, it's not. Yeah, it's not Massachusetts. But I'm saying, any scientific facilities where they've been experimenting with, vibrating crystals and opening gateways to other dimensions. These are all ridiculous possibilities, but they're definitely in our field. They're definitely possibilities.
None that I have been made aware of.
I am going to spend some time researching, I guess, the occult. How would you summon some? I'm not expecting real information, but I'm expecting, how would witches summon up the devil, or how would you summon something from another plane? And it's probably going to be 99.99% fiction, but
Yeah, I would agree with that. Is without a spot to kind of start with, I think you find a lot of ways that you could summon something, but right, it's difficult to go from there.
Any teeth related ways?
I would imagine as you go through some of them that there would be some that you scatter teeth around an area or something, raise an army out of them or something. I suppose that's snake teeth, but
any legends of skull brain snatchers?
No, that is interesting. Would you like? Do you have any archaeology, history, or occult?
I have a cult. History. I've got 10 in a history. That's just the base, but I've got 30 in a cult. And I've rolled 41. So I'll find people. In this library, there ain't nothing.
Right.
No ancient Tibetan texts in this library.
Yes, I'm afraid not doing a quick search. No.
Well, I would like to pay a visit to the dentist, but now since we're down to one car at this point, let's Crosstalk and go and fetch us another one.
I believe Crosstalk had a couple.
I had a couple rentals.
Okay.
You've got some of the keys then.
All right. Anybody want to? Are we going to split up here? Or maybe just want to roll up as a pack.
Well,
somebody should go with you. I can go with you if you want. I'm really at a loss as to know what to do next.
Well, maybe we could all just go to the dentist and then to the medical examiner.
I think it might make sense to at least bring the doctor.
Yeah.
But I think if the whole crowd if they're still operating as like a standard, it's going to look like a full-on crime scene investigation. But just maybe
the two of you go.
Yeah. Mary and I will roll over to the dentist's office.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Those two. Back at the other hotel, was there anything that Crosstalk or Kobe were doing, or are they joining up with the group in total?
I'm just gonna observe the fruits of my labor.
Okay.
Check outside.
Yeah, when I hear him start giggling, I'll walk out and I'll be barefoot and disheveled looking, and wander down by and just inquire. Why are you guys so upset? What's going on?
Yeah, and you do see that the two Phenomen X kids, they're college age, but are looking around the car, and they are kind of zooming in on the thing. Our tires were slashed last night. This is wild. Like there's not this kind of crime. This is a cover up right here. Georgia, check for trackers or something. Like maybe they put a bug on us. Like all our
Hey, you guys are funny. I love you. This is great. Hey, can I buy one of your t-shirts?
yeah, we got some. Yeah, we got some in the car. Sure.
That's great. Yeah. I need an extra large though.
Okay. 1 second. You hear them?
Maybe
They open
even
the
an
car
XX,
door.
depending.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 1 sec. Son of a bitch! You hear from inside. Our laptops are all gone. God damn it!
Oh no, that sucks. Oh man. So about that t-shirt.
Well, later.
No, I
well,
want my t-shirt, man. Come on, here's $20.
I mean, $20 is $20. Fine.
Yeah,
He
thank
takes
you.
the money and goes in the van and comes out with the extra large T-shirt.
Yeah, I tried on right there. Make sure it fits.
Yeah, it's all right.
Thanks, dudes. Good luck.
So it's not a good screen print or anything. Like this is not a cool T-shirt, but it says Phenomenex.
Yeah.
And you go, damn it. All right.
All right, and I head back up. I stop off at the restaurant there and grab crosstalk and something to go. Eggs, toast, the usual.
Yep.
Some coffee. I'm sure it's terrible, but
Yeah, it's not great, to put it lightly. But you do see the two of them. You're kind of keeping an eye on them as they kind of shout for a while, and then you see them close the van door and walk off further into town. Looks like they're going to have to find other arrangements for a vehicle.
They're pretty admirable. They just
at
keep
least they got a
going.
little cash now.
Yeah. But that's a nice T-shirt. You mind if I borrow
Hey,
it?
thanks. What? I just bought this, dude.
I'll trade you.
I paid $30 for it.
30.
Yeah.
I should have taken that while I had the chance then.
It's true.
No,
you
I
could have
mean
had your-
seriously, what do you want it for, man? I mean, if it's something important, I was just playing with them.
Well, maybe if I wanted to be a Phenomenex fan.
Yeah, that's kind of what
That's
I
it.
figured.
Yeah.
You know, I keep bumping into him, pretending I'm a fan. You know,
It's good.
I'm like invisible to them. So
Have you made any progress with finding out whatever material this is?
no, nothing, man. I stayed up late.
Well, I
Couldn't
bet.
find anything. When I got tired of that, I tried to hack the dentist's website, and that was no good either. You know, HIPAA. It's tough.
Hmm. Maybe we should just take a drive to the library, ask around there. We can pretend we're Phenomenex.
You know, we could go to a university library or Brookhaven. You know, maybe they have public access to their library there.
Yeah, but wasn't one of the victims a librarian?
Yes.
Yes, the
Yes.
high school librarian. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds smart. Yeah.
Let's
go
pretend
there.
we're Phenomenex and ask some questions then. Make ourselves useful.
Cool.
And I believe it is Saturday today, just so you are all aware.
Oh, okay. Time to break into a library then.
A lot of. I mean, is it a school library or a public library?
A school library.
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
Actually, you can help me by getting that librarian's address, and then we can break into the residence then.
Yeah, sure.
And do we know if the librarian was taken from their home, just like all the other MOs, or was it somewhere
That was not. In fact, you don't know where the first two bodies were taken from.
Okay.
Do we not know because we haven't asked, or the police don't know?
Possibly a little bit of both. You have not
Okay.
met with the detective to go over any details they know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe
you've not
we
asked.
should get Equus to talk to the detective
Yeah, you text him while I go online and
Yeah, I'll shoot him a text.
Information on this lady.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like we have two. Equus, are you following up on that, or who are you going with?
I'm actually still back at the place.
Yeah.
Two of them went. The two of them in the other place. I'm mapping out where the things took place to see if there's any. Are they making a giant pentagram? You know, I've seen a lot of occult movies.
Have you seen the? Never mind. It's not that. No. You also run into kind of the same problem that the other agents are having. Is you don't have a exact location of the bodies found. You know the high school because that was somewhat sensationalized. Edge of the park, not a great amount of detail.
How about where they came from?
Also, you're not sure.
Okay. The thing I'm thinking of right now is what if I'm on the internet. Okay, I'm looking all this up. Are there areas in Long Island, anywhere nearby, where something large could hide? I'm looking for old warehouses, abandoned subway tunnels. I don't know if they have subways on Long Island.
They
sure they do.
They probably do. I know with my very limited amount of knowledge of this, I know this might be a little bit out of the way, so maybe not all the way out here, but there are farms and whatnot. For the most part, this area is fairly residential in terms of the buildings are smaller or small businesses. So there's not like a big abandoned complex.
There
not
are
like a barns.
Big wharf area with other barns.
Right.
Shit. I had no idea this is that rural. Also, are there any large stands of trees?
Yeah. I mean, there's trees fairly consistently through here.
Because there's a lot of animals that could just sit up in the top of a tree and sleep, and they sort of camouflage themselves because they look like just a big wad of dead tree leaves or something. So there's a lot of places this fucking thing could hide. Shit. Anyways, I guess what I'm accomplishing is exhausting a bunch of ideas.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm here to take any messages and relay them. So I get their messages.
Perfect. And you're doing some research. We'll cut back to you third then. I think there's something we'll hit. Let's go with Indemnity and Mary as you head out to the dentist office. It looks like he had a small practice there. Just kind of a family dentistry place. You see there is a car parked outside of kind of the strip mall. You see it's the dentist and then another business next to it and another beyond that. Not like a huge area, but you do see there's a car parked outside and there is a woman inside that you see is at the front desk typing away.
What's the name of the practice?
It is actually I gotta find the guy's name again. I just lost it. Moretti Family Dentistry.
Okay. I'm surprised they're open for business, but we'll I think we can just go right in and I'll flash some FBI credentials, but if they ask. But first thing, I think Mary and I just want to go in.
Yes, I'm so sorry to trouble you, ma'am, but could we have access to the patient records of Dr. Moretti? It's part of a federal investigation.
Oh, and this kind of just is a very a younger woman, and she looks up from the computer, goes after you've shown the badges. Yes, I'll need to take your badge numbers down, I think. Do I need to call the police or anything, or is
no, ma'am? No. This isn't local. This is federal. So you don't need to call
we'll
the
handle
police.
the paperwork, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll take care of the paperwork. I'd like to make a persuade check that she doesn't need to do anything.
Sure. Yeah.
And I have a...
You can take a +20 on it, as you are kind of getting the feeling she's not quite sure about this.
Yeah, I'm trying to flex a little bit. 34 against, I guess, an 80. So that's a win.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose as long as I have your names and badges and everything, that should be fine. Yeah, come on back in here. Is there something? I guess I shouldn't ask questions. I'm sorry. What can I help you find?
Do you have a list of the patients that basically past maybe 6 months at this practice that my partner here and I can go through?
Yeah. We have a few from the area. We're a local one. She starts to kind of type away at a computer. And it'll take a little bit, but she can get you a printout of all kinds of procedures and all kinds of names. You think it'll take a while to kind of parse through the list.
We're looking for any records on a possible Vanessa Hatvan, and
I start like elbowing Agent Mary.
Yeah.
Like, don't give her any information she doesn't ask for.
Vanessa? Yeah, no. Yeah, Ms. Hatvan has come through here before, if that's what you're asking about.
It's not just curiosity. But did you know Carl Moretti?
Oh, yes. No, he was the dentist here. I'm still trying to kind of find someone to take over. I don't really do that. I've been kind of keeping the place quiet, answering the phones, but his brother's doing it, but we don't. Yeah.
Okay. That answers that. Thank you. All right. Well, is the printout ready for us? Maybe something we can go over.
Yeah, sure. Here, and she hands you a number of these pages of paper. Is this about Carl?
It might be. You have any coffee? I kind of want to go through these right now.
Coffee's really pretty bad for your teeth.
I'm sorry. What was I thinking?
Yeah, we have some cans of Monster over here, though.
All right. Well, that's much better. Can I make a bureaucracy to try to go through this pretty quickly, maybe, or something like that?
Yeah. You think on a failure, it'll probably take you 3 hours just to kind of go through it.
That's a 32 against 40, so
okay,
success.
All right. You get the idea of let me start from the back, and what you're finding, you see a couple of names jump out at you because you have seen them recently. You see Troy Woods and Thomas Dangler both appear in the list of patients. You do see it is a family dentistry. You see a lot of other students, but those two kind of stick to the front of your mind. And as you're looking, it looks like Troy was having some repairs from braces, and just kind of getting them, tightened, that sort of thing. He had consistent things with an appointment lately. And Thomas Dangler had a pretty extensive root canal.
Are there any more? Does it look like there might be more frequent appearances than you would normally expect, or just?
Yeah, for those two, you see Troy was kind of consistent throughout, and then you see Thomas had quite an extensive procedure done, and as you're looking at the dates, you realize that would have been, looks like the last thing was the 10th to the 15th of September. Thomas had gone under the surgery, and Troy had his on the 14th, the latest tightening. And
then Moretti died the day after.
Mm-hmm.
That's odd. What about appearances of a Hatvan or Harrogate?
Yes, that is quite a bit further back. It looks like the yearly date for Harrogate. You see there's just basic cleaning, that sort of thing. You don't think Lauren went here.
Okay. Could just be this is the only dentist in town. So where else are they going to go? But it's a little strange that both of these people just the day before he died, don't you think, Mary?
Is the attendant still in the room with us?
Yeah. She's busy doing other stuff, taking calls.
Well, I don't think we've got anything more to investigate here. Let's take this conversation to the car.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. If we need anything, we'll be in touch.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Let me know if you need anything more.
Right.
And you kind of watch her as she's watching you walk out. She goes back to the computer. And we will jump to Agents Crosstalk and Agent Kobe.
Agent Kobe, do you like arts and crafts?
Yeah.
Good.
I like to make my own costumes for the SCA. It's a blast.
I'm thinking
You ever heard of the SCA?
No.
Man, it's so much fun. We relive ancient history. It's cool. You should join sometime.
I am going to confuse Phenomenex even more by creating a diversion. This diversion, I'm going to cut out letters from a very popular newspaper with news vans that are already here. And I'm going to make it spell out "stay off our turf," but it's so I'm giving them just enough information to think that it's someone from that news crew. And then I'm going to lockpick their door and plant the evidence because I know they're out right now walking.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll a. I believe you have a lockpick skill.
I do. 70.
Let's get some usage out of that.
That's value. That's 54 out of 70.
All right. These motel locks are no match for you as you put your somewhat frightening looking arts
stay
and
off our turf. And it's all from the same magazine. Right. And do they have anything of interest in their room?
Looks like they took their cell phones and laptops. Once fooled, twice shy sort of situation. They're keeping their goods with them at this point. All
right. So instead, we're going to go with psychological terror. So I'm going to turn all their shirts inside out.
Yeah, looking through their outfits, there a bunch of them already are, especially in the fellas. But yeah, you definitely can.
Like someone's been here. Like we need to move. Oh, I'm gonna take a shirt that I can wear myself. But that's about it.
Okay.
Hey, while he's off doing that, I want to look at the sample I have and see if it's changed in any way. Degraded or grown or.
It hasn't really. I mean, it does appear to be going through a slow degradation process. And you kind of already covered this, but you're noticing that it's still giving off quite a bit of this gas, which is toxic. Yeah. So it's not enough that you are in trouble right now, but you know that if you had a larger sample of this would be hazardous to be around.
Okay, that's good to know.
Now, Kobe, do we want to plant that somewhere to see if my theory is correct?
No. I need this.
Very well.
Have you heard back from Equus?
I haven't yet. He was going to talk to the detective for more leads for us.
Right. Well, I'm sure he'll get back to us when he can. I'm not really sure what's next for us. I mean,
I said we lay low.
Breaking into this school. Yeah, let's wait to hear back from everybody else. So yeah, I pull out my laptop and start playing some video games.
So, Agent Equus, speaking of the devil, you have spent the morning kind of researching the area. You found a few barns that you've perhaps circled on a map with kind of like maybe this looks abandoned from, Google Earth or whatever. Looks kind of sketchy. And it gets to be about 11. And your phone rings again, and you can see it's Detective Gregson.
How's it going, Detective?
It's going okay. We're setting up for our press conference. Have you seen Officer Wright since last night?
I have not.
Okay, because you guys stopped by the house, right?
Correct.
Yeah, he hasn't called in or anything. I'm starting to get worried.
Mm. Well, keep me apprised of that situation. As I recall, he was there when we arrived,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure that he didn't leave, did he? Or did we tell him he could leave? Yeah, he was there when we left.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird. All right. Crap, I don't have time for this. Thanks. We'll get back to you.
All right.
Yeah. Bye.
So I relate via text to the others what's going on. So one thing that I kind of wanted to do, a kind of a cross reference, you say I found a few places, barns, hotels. I want to know if I'm going to, if in researching like who owns them, if I'm running across any names that I've already run across.
Not really. With the if you kind of compared it to the list of names you had, you probably have a few family members of students, but in the area, nothing that makes you no smoking guns that you're really seeing there.
Okay. I get stuck with all the boring shit.
All right. Yeah. Is anyone going to the press conference at noon?
We'll go.
Yeah, he can go because he can dress up like a nobody.
If it's coming up on that point and we don't have time to reassemble before that, then I'm not going to go.
You'd probably have 15 or so minutes if you wanted to just regroup and have a chat.
Okay.
But this is before the press conference.
Yep.
Okay.
You've got we'll go at 11:45. You've got time. You know that after a quick chat you could go there if you wanted to. But
I think that the least amount of people that see our faces, the better.
Okay. We've turned up something interesting. So those Troy Woods and Thomas Dangler fellows were contacts in the Harrogate girl's phone. They had procedures done with both of them within the last 5 days of Moretti, the dentist's death. So that's a possible association of this guy to the high school. Then the next person that goes out is a high school librarian, and now we've got a high school student. We need to look more into these boys and maybe just a connection to the high school in general.
Yeah.
And
did you say Lauren had been there as well, or just her friends?
No, she hadn't been there, but those two boys were also those were names that came up on her phone, right?
Right. They were in the group chat with her. So
at the same time, aren't they all local? So is it that big of a coincidence?
It's just worth noting, I think.
Yeah.
How big is this town?
The fact that the dentist died one day after seeing these patients is suspicious to me, especially since they're so close to Lauren.
maybe check his orders of materials. Maybe there's a new shipment of something that could be a lead.
I don't
I mean,
think
what
it's that the
procedures-
dentist was anything more than a victim. It's anything I want to look more into those two young men.
What procedures did the people have done at the dentist? Do you have any idea?
Troy had his braces tightened
14th.
on the 14th, and there was a root canal procedure that stretched from like the 10th, like right up to the
Point of death.
All right. So no evil gray substance being pumped into their teeth or anything like that. It's just
Wasn't on the records if it was.
well tight. Yeah. I mean, well, you can't just tighten somebody's braces and say, "Oh, by the way, let me drill this tooth." So yeah. I mean, it's if they're going to go to the dentist. I mean, Long Island's huge, but if the school's there and the dentist is there, and
Why don't we check the school library's records? What if we find that the date either Troy Woods or Thomas Dengler checked out a book or were otherwise in the library on the day that Vanessa Hatton was found dead?
That's definitely worth noting, but I think at least where I want to go next is I want to go and see the other. I want to see Laura's body and the librarian's body as well.
Yeah, Vanessa's.
Mm-hmm. So I've been researching and trying to see if there's any place where you could hide a monster. I mean, it sounds silly, but it's a valid point. The monster just can't be sitting there in somebody's yard. There are quite a few barns. There are some stands of trees. I mean, it theoretically could be hiding just in the
it's
top
really
of
wild out
trees.
here on the north end of the island. There's a lot of forest and old buildings and old
And
farms.
it's left bodies in trees, and it's left bodies in wires, which are kind of, to an animal, they're kind of trees.
It definitely likes altitude. I mean, it was on top of our hotel. It was high enough to drop into the wires and then in a tree. So yeah, I think you're onto something with the
I've been
trees.
sitting here all day. I would like to get out of the apartment, so I'll go with whoever's going somewhere.
Hey,
I'm
What
going
are
to the
the-
medical examiner.
Equus, did you ever talk to the detective to get more details about the dentist and the second victim where they were abducted from?
No.
Have you heard from her recently?
Well, she'd really like me to be at the thing, but I mean, that's not our job.
I mean, I can just ask her myself at the press conference where they found the bodies. Or
She doesn't know
Where they
who
were
you are,
taken
though.
them. Exactly. But then they'd only tell me the things that they tell the press.
You know, while they're at the conference, we could swing by the police department and just say we need these records.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll waste
They'll
their
give them
time.
to us.
That's a really good point. They'll all be busy, and
Yeah.
and
And we've
I'll
got
let
our
you know if anything
credentials.
changes.
anybody
So-
that's working there is going to be watching it live on the live stream.
Right.
So
And I did tell her, I did informed her that something or someone is, well, I didn't say something. I said, whoever's doing this is on to us and they're following us or they're threatening. So I can't
be
figure out how they knew we were on the job so quickly.
agreed. It's so weird that thing landed on our hotel and then destroyed our SUV. I mean, it's pretty nuts, but it's also only been at night, so we have some time.
You know, the only people that have been acting suspicious are people that we have automatically disregarded as boobs, but the Phenomena X people.
Nah, I think they're innocent.
How many members are there
Of
on
course,
the
we think they're innocent.
Glenridge police force?
You said 3, right?
Yes, it's 3 and then a supervisor.
And
I
then
would
should we
think-
go ahead and check on that officer that's missing?
There's an officer missing.
Yeah, there's an officer missing.
Yeah, I guess make that 2.
Okay, that immediately makes one thing come to mind. You know, we visited the crime scene and he was there with us. And that was at night, correct? or at least
Yes.
easily.
Yeah, he was the one we dismissed.
Maybe that is when it caught on to us.
What's the weather forecast been like? Was this heavy rain expected? Is it still raining? Is it expected
Yes,
to rain
it
for
is.
more days?
It is still raining, and it is expected to last a few more days.
Can we check weather records for the dates of the murders? Was it raining when these killings happened? Maybe it hides above the clouds.
Check that. Agent Mary, to answer your question, though, how did it know what hotel we were staying in? And that officer was there.
I'm saying it might be the gray material.
I mean, there's the classic saying of the perpetrator will return to the scene of the crime. It just followed us we've established aerial mobility to some degree.
There could have been somebody else out there, too. It was pouring down rain. There could have been somebody standing across the street with magical powers, manipulating all this, watching us. We wouldn't have seen him.
Agent Indemnity, you're doing some Google. Yeah, you find it's rainy every night that someone has disappeared.
If it's hiding above the clouds, maybe satellite imagery would have already seen it.
Well, satellite imagery has seen any of this. We need to make sure that satellite imagery does not exist anymore. So let's not think
above
about that.
The clouds?
Well, I mean, that's hardly 200 feet up when you consider a storm.
Yeah, I just hadn't considered that it could fly. I mean, it's scary enough that it can get on the top of the hotel and get away so quickly. So obviously, now that I'm thinking about it, it can probably fly. I thought more like it was like the Hulk. It just jumped around.
I mean, it could. We still don't know that for sure. But here's a good question: that by the time it was on the roof and dangling the poor girl's thing, and the fact that the body was on the wire, but we were called here to investigate her disappearance. How long is that stretch of time? Because why is the thing still running around with her head in its hands?
Well, so I think it's like 24 hours. The crime scene was still untouched. I think at most.
Why is it running around?
We were sent here very quickly. I think somebody higher up knows more than we do.
Yeah. But now it's starting to feel more like an animal again, except that it would have eaten her or whatever. I mean, I can't figure out the motivations for this thing.
Its connection to the weather is strange.
Mm-hmm.
The association with rain is worrying.
Yeah, but at least as far as we know, it only comes out at night. So, but we need to find out more details about the first abduction and the second abduction if they exist, so we can confirm that. And also, relating to something you said, Agent Equus, about the height of things, maybe it's also getting more powerful. So maybe each abduction, it was stronger, and we could see that from the police reports.
Certainly possible. What if the storm and the weather is caused by it's an atmospheric problem caused by the gate? If there's a gate that's being opened and bringing this thing through. I think we should check with the power company and see if there's a drain of energy somewhere. If one of those farms is using way more electricity than maybe they've got a circle with electrodes all hooked onto it, and they're opening.
Or maybe they're just growing pot in their barn.
Yeah, we'd be able. Then it would be steady. We'd know something at least. I can look into that, but not tonight, or not today. I want to go out. I want to get the fudge out of here.
Right. So it is. You're kind of reaching that point. What are people going to do?
I've got
see the rest of the bodies.
Yeah, I've got a press conference.
I'll go to the medical with Mary.
Okay.
I would like to go to the station and take a look at the records for the murders, like where they were found.
Okay, and Kobe.
I'm to decide. I think maybe I'll just hang out and live stream the press conference in our hotel room.
Okay. Easy enough to do. Kobe, I'm just making a quick note. All right. We will start because Mary and Equus, you start heading out. It's going to take you an hour to get to the doctor from Glenridge. Yep. So you're going to miss the press conference. Not a big deal. Indemnity, you get to the police station. It's not terribly large. You see they have kind of a front area that you see some press fans have already set up. They've got the radar dish type thing set up. There's more of them here than before, but Crosstalk, you see not the one that you slashed the tires of. That station is not here. Also noticeably missing, you do not see the Phenomenex folks. You kind of keeping an eye out for them. But you see the front area has been sectioned off, and Detective Gregson is getting ready kind of off to the side behind a lectern. How are you approaching this?
I would like to try to enter the police station from the back and try to avoid the circus up front.
Okay. All right, very good. Crosstalk, I know, were you wishing to go in the front? Or are you?
I'm going in from the front. Yeah.
Okay.
Just pretending I'm one of the press.
Yeah. You end up having to push your way in through this crowd. You do see there are quite a few press people, as well as a few people you think might be local. Agent Indemnity, you're able to go into the back pretty quickly. You see that the other detective that was at the scene last night recognizes you and lets you in. We can regroup, but Detective Gregson takes the front. You can both hear this being in the station, and she starts to give a quick discussion of how, yes, they found a body last night, that of Lauren Harrogate. She spares any. She does not go into detail. They found the body after her abduction. They are still on the lookout for people. Any hints, tips are much appreciated. And she eventually goes into a question and answer section.
Oh.
Yes. And she points to you.
Hi, I'm from Phenomenex. Do you think secret government organizations are covering this up?
She moves on to the next person. You. And they ask a question. Agent Crosstalk, go ahead and make an alertness roll.
30 out of 70.
30. You're seeing that some of the people next to you are looking at their phones. These news anchors are. None of just the people in the car. They're looking at the phone, and they start raising their hands. She picks on one of them, and they go, "What about the body of Officer Wright? Do you have a comment on that?"
I'm sending a text.
And she is shocked by this. And she's looking around in that, and she heads off towards the back. Agent Indemnity, you're in the back. I guess, what are you doing as you're hearing this?
I'm hopefully at least up to my elbow in crime records for the first two. I would like to see if I can figure out where their bodies were found.
Okay.
I know one of them was on a tree, but we're trying to see like where they were taken from, and also where the dentist was found.
Yes, and that's pretty quick to.
I'm an ex-cop, so I probably will be able to.
You can just ask, and they'll tell you that they don't know the dentist. He just didn't show up at home. Mm-hmm. Maybe he was walking home. They're not sure. The librarian, they think maybe from the school, but again, they're not quite sure. Okay. And that's when you see Detective Gregson stepping in the back, and she pretty much immediately focuses on you. Thank God. Agent, we have an officer down. I
Oh,
need you
God.
to get in front of this crowd right now, and we need
I can do
something,
it.
anything. Okay, thank you.
All right. I kind of just assume like the posture, try to project some confidence and stroll and kind of out how she came in. And I'm, just walk up to the lectern where she was, and I say, this is now an active FBI investigation. It has been for 2 days now. I will field any questions here. And I gesture to Agent Crosstalk, who may or not be raising his hand, but I'll let him pitch me.
What steps are you taking to figure out?
Well, right now we are dispatching an investigation team to the location of the body of Officer Wright to try to establish any connections to previous victims. We're treating this as a serial killer. We're looking at
A serial killer.
we have a psychographic profile of the person we believe to be responsible. We're working with profiling agents back at Quantico. I don't want to give away too much right now for fear that not just out of consideration of inspiring any potential copycat killers.
Sir, do you think people are safe?
Yes, unequivocally, I believe people are safe.
Wait, hey, what about
Yes,
the body?
again,
What about the body found west of the town?
Are you referring to
West of the town. There.
we have no information on the body at the west of the town right now.
I'm gonna loudly exclaim, "Oh shit! I gotta get over there."
West of the town.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
You see Crosstalk head out, and they're not stupid. they're already glomming onto this, like, okay. And you see most of them are heading out pretty soon. You're gonna have stragglers. They're asking questions, and you're just getting your face on camera. Most of them are, is there anything you can tell? You probably a lot of no comments on them.
Right. Yeah. Right now, it's a lot of no comments. Just got to place your trust in, and obviously, we're still accepting tips from anybody who might have information about this. We will release more information about the killer or the suspect if we do believe that he or she becomes an active threat to the community. But right now, we believe that the pattern has been identified and that there is no threat to the community right now. No further questions.
Yep. Rhubarb. There's, chat among the room. There's a lot of crosstalk here and there, but
actually he left.
Eventually, you're able to head to the back. You see that Detective Gregson's gearing up to go outside and look at the body of Wright.
Yeah, Gregson, a lot of that was false, but I had to cover for you here.
Okay. Well, at
It'll
least
become
whatever
true
those,
soon. I just have to get in touch with Quantico.
I hope that not that party about the body west of town. Okay. Great. Shit.
Let me know if you need anything, okay?
Yeah. If we get any tips, we'll pass them along.
And did you know Officer Wright well?
Yeah. There's 3 of us, 4 of us here. Yeah.
Just want to express my condolences. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thanks.
We'll get this guy.
Thanks. Yeah. Let me know as soon as you have anything. Shit. Come on, Amelia. And they head out. Kobe, you saw all of this on the live stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find Crosstalk a place to hide. Looking desperately on the map for like a sharp corner or anything that looks like if he gets away from him, he can hide in.
Yeah, roll a search or a navigate of some kind.
Don't hide in that big barn over there.
Or criminology, yeah. You feel something hug you on the way in.
It's such a shame we're not playing Call of Cthulhu. I rolled a +1. 0.
Okay.
Oh, that's still a crit.
Yeah, that's a crit. Yeah, that's the best crit. Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Kobe, awesome. My man.
Yeah, you're very easily able to direct agent crosstalk into an area. And in fact, you get it in such a way that you're thinking the rest of the people, if they were just like, we're following that way, they're going to keep going for a while.
Awesome.
Nice
Well
job.
done. Well done, Crosstalk.
Thank you.
You got indemnity out of that.
Right.
I'm also gonna, like, while I'm killing time, I'm gonna, like, try to find some Facebook posts or Instagram or whatever and start the rumors going about more bodies to the west.
Do you still have who has
No,
Lauren's
indemnity
phone?
has the phone.
Yeah. Okay, indemnity has the phone. Yeah, that's fairly easy to do. Go ahead and roll. Do you have like a persuade or a computer science or something in that effect?
I have computer science at 40 and I have persuade at 40.
Roll one of them.
81.
All right. You can start some, but you're thinking it might not hold up to a lot of scrutiny. People will pretty quickly be like, I don't know who this guy is. Small town, that sort of thing. All right. Then I think, is there anything you, the three that are aware of this situation are doing at the moment?
I'm letting everyone know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm texting everybody.
All right. So we'll cut to Equus and Mary in the car. You're about 15 minutes out and you get Crosstalk's text.
Oh my God. Great.
What's this?
That officer, he's dead.
Well, it's to be expected. I mean, we know what's going on. Something terrible is going on here.
I feel like if we go there right now is when the hawks are going to be circling it. So we should not, at least the two of us, not good touch that with the 10-foot pole. Not for now.
We've got a job. We have to remember why we're here. We're here because of that thing. All these other things, that's a horrible tragedy, but it's not her. It's not why we're here. We can't do anything about that. Yeah, let's get to the hospital.
Okay.
Jesus.
We'll stay with that group for a little bit of Mary and Equus as you arrive at the medical center. It is a different person at the desk, obviously during the daytime, but they let you in and here for Dr. Santorini. I'm assuming you called ahead.
Yes.
Yep, just this way. And they lead you down a corridor back to the morgue area in which you had seen before, and you find yourself face to face with a bespectacled individual. His clothes are shabby, and he has a certain sort of formaldehyde smell to him. You think he probably just smells like this all the time. But he shakes your hand. Hi, Dr. Santorini.
Good morning. Jacob Polonsky.
Dr. Wainwright.
Dr. Wainwright. We're at the FBI. First of all, I want to make it clear that anything that we discuss with you needs to remain confidential.
Oh, of course.
At least until this whole case is solved.
Yep. I've worked on various. I mean, it's been well over 5 years since we had anything out of Glenridge. But yeah, this is really something in it.
Well, we're trying to find commonalities between the bodies. So I'm going to let Dr. Wainwright take over.
All right.
I'm not a medical person.
I'm warning you, Equus, that I saw that first body, and it is pretty severe.
Who?
I'm warning you.
Who's the second? No, I'm assuming you don't use.
You don't say Equus.
No.
Yeah. Even the front desk lady is doing the. Don't do it.
It's my nickname. They call me Horsey.
Intriguing. Yeah, it's okay. I know you came in last night. You see what? By the way, did you see what happened to the parking lot?
What happened to the parking lot?
No idea.
I don't know, some rental got beat the hell out of it, like pieces everywhere. They knocked down like something. I don't know if it was a storm or what, but it knocked out all the poles out there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But I guess I want to get a fresh look at this. Did you find anything, Doctor?
I only had time to examine the first body of Mr. Moretti.
Okay.
So I think the best place to start is to look at the librarian and then the most recent body that's actually here.
Yes, I've looked at Lauren's body this morning. Obviously, it came in last night, so I've had a little bit of time. Do you want me to discuss anything at this point, or do you want to take a look yourself first?
I want to just look at the two bodies first, and then we can talk theories.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right.
And you don't have to roll violence again because you have lost the full amount.
Yeah.
Taking a look, you once again find this. You'd be hard pressed to call it a body if you didn't know. Other than a few pieces here and there, it's mostly pulp shredded. And what are your two human ints?
I think I have a 50.
Okay.
Yes, I have a 50.
I have a 30.
Okay. That's enough. Santorini is giving you a very appraising look between the two of you as he's watching you work. He's following you very closely and kind of trying to observe what you're observing at a given time.
I'm acting in a very FBI professional manner. But I'm not directly, the most you'll get out of me is occasionally I might give a slight squint, because I'm not the medical person and it's disgusting.
And I warned him.
Yeah. So I'm not really watching.
Yep. And going through the bodies is he's kind of watching you. You again find the sample underneath the fingernails of this gray substance on all of them. And you finish up. They look very, very similar in that regard. And he's just looking. So, if I can ask, Doctor, what's your take on the situation?
Questions for the GM, just to verify what exactly is it the same before as it looks like the exact cause of death? Yes. Was it the
exact
spine being yanked down? We've got the same horrible mauling, a blunt, strong cutting tool. Lots of blunt force. Okay. Well, it's quite puzzling, in all honesty. It would be someone using a method, maybe some kind of machinery, possibly, to because that kind of strength is not. Well, I've never seen anything like it.
Right.
But the cause of death is, as disturbing as it is to say, the spine being removed with the head. Mm-hmm. Tell me, Dr. Santorini, do you have any current working theories?
Maybe a tree limb cutter. Something like you were talking about, some sort of power tool that has blunt but very strong force. Operating theory on some of this, if we look at some of these serrations and whatnot, I'm kind of thinking it might be an animal bite of some kind. I've been sitting out. I've been consulting with my colleagues around trying to figure out like where these could have come from, but I'm having absolutely no luck. So that's why I'm thinking. What do you make of the samples under the fingernails?
We're currently doing a further chemical analysis. We can't say the exact details on that. But it's certainly unlike anything I've ever seen before.
And his eyes are kind of narrowing as you're saying this. You didn't look into those at all?
Well, we are. The problem is that it's just taking time.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
If the spine was removed, was it cut from the ribs or was it snapped and broken from the ribs?
Best I can guess based on what the way it was done is something held around, and he's actually showing you like this, and then something pulled. And then again, it had to have been some sort of tool or something, right? Like a human can't do this.
Well, I'm surprised that the spine itself didn't just snap into pieces as it was. It's not a steel cable.
If we did, we didn't find it. Maybe something pulled it apart. It's kind of difficult to tell. I mean, we can get this under a microscope at some point, and maybe we'll find something that pulled the ribs off. I'm not quite sure. It's quite a thing.
Was there anything else removed? Any other organs taken?
No, it's just the head and the spine, as far as we can tell.
This is crazy. I mean, serial killers are nuts, but this is really nuts.
Yeah.
And
I've already told the detective about the drop as well. I think we didn't talk about it, but the blunt force, I'm kind of thinking somebody dropped it out of a plane or something. That's kind of my operating theory. Because again, we didn't see, like, as far as I know, they didn't find anything around the tree base or anything.
So you don't think that they carried it up into the tree and left it there?
I can't imagine it.
I mean, an animal could do something like that, a jaguar or.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have the trauma, the blunt force. It's really, really quite strange.
Yeah, we've got kind of a working theory that this is some kind of a wild animal. The problem is that there's no flying animals on the planet that could lift a human being. You know. So it would have to be a light aircraft or something like that.
You say there's no animal on this planet?
Oh, well, I honestly, I don't know. There's probably a scientific physics measurement for it, but even if it was something like some prehistoric pterodactyl, I still don't think that it could lift a human being. It's, only jumbo jets and airplanes can do it because they're traveling faster and they have a great deal of lift. Right. But
I agree with your plane theory.
I mean, I've seen dinosaurs in museums and they're just not big enough.
Whoever's doing this certainly has a lot of money. That's my current theory.
Or they're making it look like this. So we've got a couple of things. If you had a machine, as horrible as that is, that could rip the body apart, first of all, it's going to be messy as hell, right? I mean, blood must go everywhere. We haven't found a spot where there's blood everywhere.
Nope.
So they're taking the body somewhere and doing this, and then bringing the body back and throwing it somewhere. Maybe there's a way we can see if we can trace equipment. What kind of equipment would you purchase? What kind of industrial machine could you repurpose to do something as horrible as this? I mean, these are questions we have to ask.
Yeah. I mean, if you would agree, the detective wasn't quite sure on my plane theory, maybe we can do some sort of tracking thing. I'm a medical doctor, not a airspace detective.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, we just have to come up with these. Maybe somebody's got an ultralight. Although,
but
in most of the cases,
where are they taking them? Yeah.
It's in the middle of a storm, though, too. You can't really fly an ultralight in the middle of the storm. Something's fishy. Something's very strange going on.
That is, yeah, I hadn't thought about it during the storm. Yeah, that's interesting.
But you could hide an ultralight in a barn or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm musing. We're trying to figure this out.
I wish I could help. Like, this is horrible. I want this to stop. I can't help though. Like it's I can tell you what I found, that the horrible injuries, but what I can't figure out is why them, right? Like,
well,
it's like
that's for abnormal psychologists to figure out why. Are there any machine shops around?
Sure. Yeah. There's, around here or around Glenridge that you're talking about.
Yeah, it would have to be around here. Everything's going to be around here. Well, I'll have to research that, because maybe there's somebody with a hydraulic press or something that's been.
Maybe
gruesome business.
It's been interesting. Yeah, I'm going to be really interested in all the studies that I'm going to get out of this once we figure it out. There's a lot here. This is really interesting.
It's possible that the trauma itself to the bodies is caused by this thing. Tearing somebody's spine out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's messy. I don't think they just fell into the wood chipper, though.
It also doesn't seem to make much sense. It's almost torturous, because if I was a serial killer and I was going to cut out somebody's spine, I would do it with a saw, because it would be way easier than.
Yeah, I don't know. The doctor, you saw this as well. It looks like the spine was the first thing that happened. So if there's small blessings, at least they weren't, ripped apart. I don't think they were tortured, as far as I can tell.
Is there a way to
pure? Yeah.
Is there a way to tell if what was grabbed was, the lumbar region of the spine and then pulled out and the head's last?
Oh, that's interesting.
If the head and then pulled down.
I can do some extra analysis.
Maybe the way the fractures are fractured.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry that it's so incredibly horrifying. But
yeah, give me a second. Let me go run some numbers back in my office, if you don't mind. And he kind of walks away. You can see that this office is connected to the morgue. Would both of you like to roll alertness?
Sure.
Oh, I think.
Oh, yes.
That's really sad. I rolled a 22 on a 20.
Oh no. Yeah, you're it's fine. You're just not at all paying attention to the doctor at this point. He stepped out. Agent Equus, you see the doctor in the office. He kind of gives like a glance. He's not that sneaky. And he reaches over and takes one of the test tubes and pops it into a drawer before he starts typing away on his computer.
Okay. I'm going to walk in there. And I'm just, as I walk in, I say, I shouldn't have to remind you. I did tell you not to talk to anybody about this.
Yeah, that won't be a problem. I'm on a lot of police things. Trust me, I'm not going to jeopardize my job for this.
Well, and you could be, you don't want to jeopidize lives.
Oh, well, yeah.
So if the killer knows what we're up to, then he might change his modus operandi.
I can't think of something much more creative than this, but all right. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. And you think he's telling the truth, at least there.
So I'm remembering that he did that, but I'm waiting by the door.
Okay.
As Dr. Mary is continuing to
snap
his fingers.
Yeah, and you're sticking your fingers in, and he comes out, and I think from my I think calculation wise, it was interesting to say pulled down, but it does look like it was maybe back of the neck and then up. And he's very clinical. He's just kind of walking through it like, that's interesting, but what a terrible way to go.
Well, thank you, Dr. Santorini.
And while they're talking, I'm going to walk into his office.
Okay.
See what was in the tube.
Yeah, they're chatting, finishing up. You open it, and you see the tube has a small amount of that gray organic material put into it, like probably a couple fingernail scrapings.
Okay. Well, we have some of that. I'll just put it right back. Come walking out. I'm going to give his room, though. Oh, I didn't notice that evil idol on your.
Yeah. Nope. It looks like a normal. I mean, as much as that's whatever's normal for that, I assume X-rays, that
Right,
sort of
okay.
thing, are around. Nothing that worries you. But
Right,
it is
so I'll just
something
come
you
back
can,
out.
yeah, you can file that in your. You shouldn't let this material out. Probably.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Star Wars minifigurines.
Now we've established that the gray stuff deteriorates. Yes.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I'll assume he's not going to get much out of that sample. It's going to disintegrate in a day or so.
All right. So the question now is, you're heading back. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm going to thank you, Dr. Santorini, but I think we need to be on our way.
All right. Let's see. So Agent Kobe, Agent Indemnity, and Agent Crosstalk. What are you doing? You've had this moment.
I think Agent Indemnity is going to need to call somebody higher up at Delta Green to make sure that I didn't step on any toes with the FBI by kind of throwing that out there on live TV.
Yeah, you can call up your handler. Would you like to make a bureaucracy check?
I would like to see if maybe
I figured.
Yeah. I'm a born bureaucrat. But not today, apparently.
Not today. I don't know what to tell you, Agent. It's and you hear fast food wrinkling in the background as he's talking. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You're on TV. You're not a federal agent, so that's gonna get interesting for you at your job, maybe. I would recommend changing your look before you go back to work. Maybe throw some look off. Maybe you've just got a doppelganger somewhere. Yeah, sorry, part of the job.
Well, if I'm in a federal lockup, I'll call you again probably, but otherwise I'll work with that.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good luck. Chomp chomp. Noises of eating. Yeah. And it is about 2:00. So you still have a bit of time left in the day. I'm seeing some talk.
After I helped Crosstalk get safe, I'm gonna do what I can scouring Lauren's social media and anybody else kind of related to her. I'm looking to see if she had a fallout with Troy or Tommy or Phoebe. Anything like maybe a nasty message about the librarian at school.
Yeah, roll a search there.
09. I'm either rolling 80s or zeros.
You're rolling good. So you do find a couple posts about the school librarian by last name, to the regards of she's such a hard ass. I got detention again for nothing, sort of thing. This is so unfair, and everybody on the comments is like, shit, she's the worst. She's always giving people detention. And you're kind of thinking, you're putting faces to names and everything, and you realize as you're watching these that, okay, there's Troy, there's Phoebe, there's a guy named Lewis, whatever. You don't see any with Thomas.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe in the background, like maybe the face, like recognizer got him, but he's not like tagged in it or anything.
Interesting. Okay, that's fun. Yeah, I text everybody and share with them that that it doesn't appear Thomas is in her normal social group. He's kind of like Walt in the after party. Nobody really sees him or remembers him.
Which one is Thomas?
Yeah, the root canal the day before Moretti was murdered.
Thomas Dangler, not Dangler.
Is he like active in the group chat on her phone?
He's not in the group chat.
Oh, okay.
Wait a second. Okay, that was just one of the kids.
Was Troy in the group chat?
What was the dentist's name?
Moretti.
Carl Moretti. Yep.
I'm gonna see if I can find out anything about Thomas on the net. Like, one of those sites where you can put somebody's name in it and pay $30 and see what you can get.
He's a high schooler, isn't he?
He is. So you're probably going to have to do a little digging. I'll let your previous search kind of ride on this one.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, because you're having trouble finding him, right? So you think maybe his parents, right? Like maybe I'll look them up. And you see, it looks like his mother's like just a stay-at-home mom. The dad works for a construction company. And as you're looking, you realize, oh, that's kind of interesting, family trees going on. And his grandfather actually was a historian. And it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And you're it just kind of tingles at the back of your head, like, huh.
That reminds me of something that Steve, the player, can't remember.
Yeah, the kind of the genealogy of that, you see he's somewhat known by the name of Derek Wheeler. I'll put that in the chat.
Derek Wheeler. Yeah, and I share all that.
Well, I mean, there's always the outcast angle. The school shooter is the outcast. Maybe this Thomas.
Well, if we're going on the idea that maybe this is being summoned, I mean,
These
people
kids.
adjacent to books.
Then that would imply he's seen us too, if he's sending it after us.
I think it's worth looking more into Thomas and his grandfather, but
He is the connecting thread.
everything but the officer. That's another thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to see that scene.
Construction. Would you use construction equipment to tear somebody's spine out? Backhoe?
And there's a lot of toxic materials at construction sites. So I'm sticking to the toxic vampire.
You said it was a polymer, didn't you?
Complex organic polymer.
What if it's something used in construction and it's just, not one of those common things that you say, oh, that's drywall, or, I mean, not drywall, but you know what I mean? Some mud compound or.
That would be
Actually, with the
construction.
chlorine and the fluorine in it.
That'd be unfortunate considering it's somewhat toxic to be around.
Yeah, it's asbestos.
Wow. That's true.
But I like the way you're thinking, Equus.
I'm just so we're Kobe, you would have found this out. His parents are named Mark and Eloise. So kind of as you're talking about it, you have a name to go with.
I mean, I know I've been doing a lot of internet searching, but what about looking up Derek Wheeler? See if.
Yeah, that is a little bit more difficult. Would you
We go to
mind?
library.
Yeah. Actually, go ahead and you do find something.
Okay.
There is a local museum, I should say. It's I don't think it's quite local, but it is hosting a there we go. The American Museum of Natural History in Manhattan is hosting a ancient Peruvian exhibit, and you do find a few of the credits there are for Derek Wheeler.
Did he write any books?
No, it looks like you're just kind of finding him on a few of the this was recovered by Derek Wheeler. You don't see any papers, you don't see anything further than that.
Manhattan's what, a couple of hours from here?
Yeah. And he has passed. He died quite a few years ago.
We can take the train and keep working.
Well, maybe. I mean, if you think it's necessary, it's like
I would say we look more into the Dangler parents before we take a train to a museum.
Good point. Besides,
but it's worth taking note of,
because you get to the museum and you're like, oh, we're sorry, we're missing the giant alien artifact. Oh, sorry, you missed it.
We had that just the other day.
Just had just the other day.
Yeah, fascinating information though, because you've been wondering all along, Equus, what it could be. So maybe there's something in Peruvian folklore.
I think it's way more likely that he's torturing people with a backhoe. And I don't know how he's getting people up in the flinging them. Maybe he's built some sort of horrible catapult that he's flinging people up into the.
That'd be quite a catapult. I was saying that those machinery theories to get that Santorina fellow from just throwing him a bone to try and stop talking. I don't believe a machine was involved whatsoever.
I know, but some of the stuff that we're saying is bananas.
I've seen a person get disintegrated. It's all bananas.
I would just like to eliminate all of the mundane possibilities. Some guy manages to hoist up a body in a tree, and we imagine that it's a giant flying creature flying around, carrying bodies during rainstorms. And
I agree that that'd be really crazy if it wasn't for the fact that it had just openly taunted some of our agents.
I know. Maybe somebody's fucking with us.
That's
just like
a lot of effort.
This is like a Delta Green initiation ceremony.
Some kind of hazing.
They're all going to pop out with a cake.
Delta Green would not want this kind of media attention going on for just an initiation ceremony. If that was the case, we'd be in a backwater desert or somewhere far away from all of this.
Well, we've heard Peru mentioned. It's worth looking into ancient diabolical magic from Peru.
Does anybody have any archaeology, anthropology, history, anything like that? You might know something about Peru?
Zero.
No.
Incas?
Nope.
Only stuff I've seen on TV.
All right, I'm going to take this damn Phenomenex t-shirt off and change my disguise and head over to the body of Officer Wright, because I'm assuming all the news reporters are going there as well, just to see what's happening before that's disturbed too much.
Okay. I think let's we'll go with that. Is anyone going with crosstalk there?
Well, is it likely that body's going to be taken to the morgue?
Yes, it would eventually be taken there.
I'm going to stay back, try to keep eyes off me now.
Okay. Do we really want to stay here at the morgue, or do we want to just look at it on site?
I'm afraid we're getting our face out there too much.
I'm going to need help with the disguise pretty soon if actual federal agents show up.
I thought that we actually already left the morgue.
Yeah, I was under the impression you would
Same
head
here.
back up with everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had hooked back up. I'm staying back now. I'll do some research on what was it? I'm gonna look into see if there's equipment, and I'm gonna look into the kids' parents, especially the dad. See if
Yeah.
there's something at a correct construction site.
Mark and Eloise.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So staying behind, Indemnity's hiding out. Kobe.
I've been hanging out with Crosstalk a lot, and my fingers are a little tired, so yeah, I'll take a ride.
Okay. All
Although
right.
that thing always seems to follow us.
Well, it's not dark yet, hopefully.
I mean, it's rainy, so it's not as dark as a nice sunny day. And we'll kind of finish up there as the Agent Kobe and Agent Crosstalk. You arrive at a scene. You see that police tape has been put up around. You realize this is at the edge of the bay. You have the water in a large expanse out in front of you. And they are covering this body with a tarp. You see it's there. It's kind of floating in the wind. And it catches and it pulls back. And you can see the headless body. Well, what you assume is the headless body based on the scraps of clothes and whatnot, lying there, and you can see it is seeping out into the water as you notice there is a hand holding a gun, just kind of lying off to the side. And we'll have you roll sanity right now, and that will finish up the session.
I passed.
Good. All right.
Against
just
violence?
one. Against violence, yes.
Okay, check.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Our players included Alex Sun, Sham Sabin, Steve Anderson, James Walker, and myself with Nathan Decker as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Delta Green role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.